Hello book lovers and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. I'm here to go ahead and start off my first weekly vlog for the month of April. So I was planning on doing weekly vlogs here in the month of April because I am taking part in the Orilium readathon. I take part in it relatively loosely in that I just follow the prompts for the two careers that I have selected. Those careers are the Beastmaster as well as Necromancer. On top of my TBR for the Orilium, I have my usual TBR that I did through my TBR game. So not all of the books that I will be reading in these vlogs are for Orilium. There may be times where I'm reading books that have absolutely nothing to do with Orilium, but that is just the way that it is. I'll just keep you up to date with whatever I happen to be reading. But before we get really into this vlog, I just wanted to do a few updates. This is going to be one of those intro videos that is going to be very long. So today is April 2nd. Yesterday, I did not really vlog that much, even though I meant to start it. My parents went to a trip in California on Saturday, and my friend came down on Saturday and she left earlier today. So I kind of knew that I wasn't going to check in with you until this point. But I was hoping to do some vlogging yesterday, some b-roll yesterday while we went downtown. But yesterday I woke up to a text from my dad letting me know that my grandma over in Germany had some pretty serious health issues. And it seems like my parents are actually going to be coming home early. They'll be coming home tomorrow instead of on Saturday like they initially were going to, because my mother needs to go ahead and go to Germany and take care of some things over there. The good news is the doctors are saying that my grandma's not like at death's door or anything like that, but her health has definitely taken a bit of a dive. So yesterday I did not really end up doing any b-roll other than this nice little image of a school of fish that I happened to see, just because my mind was definitely elsewhere and I was definitely focused on being in the moment with my friend. It was a really great day. We went downtown Olympia. We went to a lot of stores. I have a little haul here for you to show you some of the fun little things that I bought there, but I didn't do any b-roll for it, which was a bit of a bummer because it was probably the one day this week where I was planning on doing anything semi-exciting. But I'm afraid my mind was elsewhere at the moment, and so I actually completely forgot about vlogging. So apologies for that. That's why this vlog is kind of starting a day late, but we are gonna go ahead and power on. Grandma is going to be fine. I believe in her. Doctors seem optimistic, so I'm staying optimistic as well. But of course, it is always difficult to have a sick family member, especially when they're on another continent, you know, on a 10 to 12 hour flight away. But I'm really glad that my mom's gonna have the opportunity to be there to kind of help her transition to potentially a living facility so that she can have around the clock care, which I think will hopefully bring her some peace of mind to know that there'll always be someone there to take care of her. Because I personally, as someone who has a lot of anxiety about being alone, know that it does help a lot to know that you have people there to take care of you if the worst were to happen. But yeah, no, that was a bit of a depressing start to the month, but we are carrying on. We are being optimistic, and we're gonna go ahead and enjoy our books. We're gonna go ahead and enjoy the nice sunny weather that we've been having. The weather was really beautiful yesterday. It's pretty beautiful today. I'm thinking after I do this update, I'm actually gonna go out and go for a walk. I haven't decided yet if I wanna go downtown again and walk around the water, or if I wanna go to where I like to walk through my old neighborhood and around the park, but we will decide that once I finish up this intro. But what I wanted to go ahead and do is I think I will go ahead and start with a little bit of a haul of things that I bought, and then I will let you know about a couple books that I read yesterday. I finished up a book. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I really just read the last 30 pages of it. In fact, I'm actually going to count it towards my March reads and not towards my April reads, because it was like a 560 page book and I read just like the last last 20 to 30 pages yesterday. And I was like, you know what? I'm counting that towards March, because if my friend hadn't been here, if I hadn't been so anxious, if my mental health had been better, I definitely would have finished it in March. But mental health be struggling sometimes, and that affects your reading. But yeah, so I'll do the haul, and then we'll talk a little bit about the books that I made progress in yesterday, and then the book that I'm currently working on. So like I said, this clip is going to be a little bit long. I apologize, but I'm just playing a little bit of catch up here, seeing as this vlog started off a little later than expected. All right, to start off with, we actually went to an apothecary that is downtown. I struggle to sleep a lot, especially if I'm really anxious or I'm home alone. That's one of the reasons I struggle to be home alone, is because I really do struggle to sleep. And if I don't get enough sleep, your girl is sick. Like, I get nauseous and I'm in a bad mood and I get more anxious, and it's just a mess. So I had actually reached out to my doctor to see if like ZzzQuil or Benadryl, or is that what it's called? Benadryl, I think a lot of people take because it like knocks them out. I wanted to see if it worked with the medications that I'm taking, because I'm taking 2 different anxiety medications, and they were kind of like, no, we would not suggest doing that. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm not gonna risk doing some sort of weird combination of medications, especially when I'm home alone. That's not a smart thing to do. But I ended up going to an apothecary where there's a lot of natural remedies, and they ended up suggesting this sound sleep pill, and they're like little capsules, and they have, let's see, passion flower, organic hops, organic skullcap, organic valerian root, California poppy, organic vervain, aerial parts, organic gotu kola, and organic lavender flower. So I mean, I will say I slept relatively well last night. My friend was still here, so tonight will be the real test. I took 2 of these. It says take 2 to 3 tablets before you go to sleep, and I did notice that it was making me a little bit drowsy, probably not as much as ZzzQuil, which will like is a sedative and will like completely knock you out, but it did help. And I took this on top of my normal anxiety meds as well as my panic attack meds, so it didn't have any negative side effects. So if you're taking any sort of anxiety or antidepressant meds, so far they said that there aren't any natural ingredients in here that negatively interact with pharmaceuticals, because there are, I guess, a few plants that do negatively impact pharmaceuticals or can negatively interact with them, but none of them are in this product. So yesterday was a pretty good night's sleep, even though my cat woke me up at like 4 in the morning and was being a bit annoying, but outside of my cat, I was doing pretty well. So I'm kind of gonna go ahead and do the same thing tonight, and hopefully I get a good night's rest despite my anxieties that come around being in a dark house all by myself. This apothecary is called Radiance, and they also have like a little store next to them that is dedicated more to like witchcraft, I guess you could say. I myself don't really take part in witchcraft. I definitely can see how it's beneficial to some people. I don't see it as like a ridiculous thing. I think that it's definitely something that has benefits to it, but I got a couple of things from there. First, I got a couple stone mushrooms. This is mostly just because of my obsession with mushrooms. There's no particular reason that I selected these stones other than the fact that they stood out the most to me. So I'm happy with my little addition to my mushroom collection. And then I got a couple candles. I got small ones so that I could kind of sample them. I do enjoy having candles in my room, but I can't light them too much because they easily give me headaches. But I usually get candles from like Michael's, right? Or no, Marshall's. It's so confusing. Michael's and Marshall's is like right next to each other where I live, so I always get them mixed up. But Marshall's, because they're discounted, and candles could be so expensive, but obviously they're often made with ingredients that are not very good for you. And while I never light a candle without the window also being open, and I usually have the candle right on the windowsill to kind of reduce the amount of aroma that is like just sitting in my room, I still notice that I can't have them lit for more than like half an hour before I start start to get a headache. But these I'm hoping will be a little bit better. And while I don't 100% believe in like spells or anything like that, you know, I will try anything once. So I got 2 candles. One is for healing and one is for protection. I got the little tiny sample sizes. So these were like less than $3, and I just kind of wanted to check them out to see how the aroma works. You know, if they calm me at all or anything, if they smell good, if they give me headaches. And then if not, then I might give them a try because they smell relatively good. So this one is lavender, orange, and tangerine. I will say there was another company that had a healing candle that included eucalyptus, which is one of my favorite smells, but unfortunately that candle was $33 and they only had the large like size. I was like, you know what, I'll just start with the small one, but eucalyptus is one of my favorite smells. And this one is bergamot, lime, and grapefruit. So they both smell really great. And they're made with more natural ingredients. So hopefully those give off some good vibes and I don't get headaches from them. That's one of the main things I'm looking for. Up next, I got a couple of stickers, and then I got some postcards and some cards because in downtown Olympia, there's so much art down there, and I just love collecting little cards or postcard sizes of them. One day I'm hoping to make an art gallery. I have collected these for years and I have so many of them scattered around my room. I like actually need to get around to doing it. But starting with the stickers, obviously I had to get some kitty cat ones. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this little guy who's just being dragged around by some balloons. I just thought he was cute, so I had to get him. And then this one I was kind of hoping to put on my car. It says, "Tell your cat I said hi." And that's just, I'm a cat person, so cat related stickers on my car, yes please. Now moving on to the postcards and cards. These 2 I got from Childhoods and Gallery. I went there to get a card for my mother because her birthday is this month. Neither of these cards are for her birthday because just in case she watches this video, I'm assuming she probably won't have time to watch anything considering she'll be in Germany for a couple weeks, but still. The first one is, and these are from the same artist whose name is Melissa Moss. She has a website, melissamossart.com, and I think her art is so gorgeous. I mean, isn't that so cute? And especially this one, I don't know if you can see him, like there's a little dude right there and he has like a little spear and he's adorable. So these I just thought were so cute and I definitely had to stash them up. Now these ones, let me see if I can see if they're all by the same artist. It looks like it, Hakiel. Let's see if they have their name. It doesn't seem to have the artist's name. I mean, it does have their name, Hakiel, here in the corner, but I don't know their full name, so I don't think I would really be able to look them up. But that's so stunning. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Got some sea anemones. I just love the colors of them. They're so beautiful. And then we just have some flowers as well. So beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, love that. Now, the final thing that I got is a cookbook. There's a store called Compass Rose downtown, which I don't buy a lot from because they are expensive. They're one of those boutiques where they just have like candles for like $30 and all that jazz, and you just can't afford anything there. But I was like flipping through this cookbook and I was kind of thinking, I was like, how can I like secretly take a picture of some of these recipes because I want to make them? And then I was like, you know what, just buy the cookbook. I hardly ever buy cookbooks. In fact, I don't even know if I own any. I might own like one. Our family doesn't own very many. I usually use Pinterest when it comes to my recipes, but I think it would be really great to just have this cookbook and make some things in it, especially because it has a section that's dedicated to meatless dishes, which is really great since we try not to eat too much meat, especially since my sister is vegan, and I personally am sensitive to like beef, and I also don't do dairy. But also cookbooks are just so beautiful, and I believe this woman is on Instagram. My friend was saying that she follows her on Instagram. So it's Half Baked Harvest Cookbook, and just look at the pictures on this. So gorgeous. So yeah, no, I was like flipping through this, and this one was like the creamy curried cauliflower and goat cheese soup like really stood out to me because I can have goat cheese. It's just like cow dairy that I can't handle, but I was like, that looks really scrumptious. And then they have Thai coconut veggie with crunchy chickpeas. It's just like the photos that they take make everything look so delicious. Slow cooked Tuscan beef with white bean ragu. I can't really do beef, but you know, I can maybe exchange it for like something else. But yeah, no, there's beef and lamb. I probably won't really use that because I know my mom doesn't like to eat lamb. The other day we were eating it because we were eating a gyro, but she doesn't really like to eat lamb because it's a baby goat and no one likes to eat a baby goat. Seafood banh mi. I definitely want to try that. Anyway, I figured it was like $30, which I usually don't feel like spending $30 on a book, which is why I usually don't buy like adult hardback books because they're usually $28 to $30. But I figured I could make a few of these recipes and get a lot out of it, and it's just really beautiful and has a good variety of food in it. So I'm really excited to go ahead and give it a try, and maybe in some of my vlogs, maybe even this month, probably not this week, but maybe at some point you will see me make a recipe out of this because it's definitely got some good looking stuff in it. Recipe books are so beautiful. Okay, I'm glad I own this. You know, I just couldn't say no to it. But that is my haul of this video. Obviously I will be cutting some of it out, but it's already almost 20 minutes long, so let's get it going. So as far as what I was reading yesterday, I read another chapter, like a really short chapter. I think it was only 10 pages, from When They Call You a Terrorist. And this chapter was really difficult to read. I'm not even joking. I mean, this whole book has been relatively difficult to read, especially because it revolves around her experience with her brother and her father, and then being in and out of the prison system. And one of the main reasons that her brother and father were in and out of the prison system wasn't so much because they were like criminals or anything along those lines. It's because they really struggled with mental health issues, and her father also struggled with drug addiction, and so they were in and out of prison and never really getting the help that they want or needed. And her brother has schizophrenia, and just reading about their treatment of him was heartbreaking. Like, I honestly wanted to break down in tears. And in this chapter, she kind of talked about the prison that her brother went to. I can't remember specifically, but it's somewhere in California, that shortly after he was released, she got an email stating that that prison was being sued for torturing its inmates. And it kind of gave like snippets of what happened to some of the inmates, including like the injuries they sustained as well as the sexual assault that was forced upon them. And it was very upsetting to read, to be honest. So that I'm really glad that chapter was short because reading stuff like that is really, I think, important so that you know just how horrible things can be in prisons, and you can kind of realize like it shouldn't be that way. Yes, there are people in there that are really bad, but at the end of the day, there's also people in there that are not actually that bad, and they should not be worried about being sexually assaulted or having their eye socket cracked, or you know, having their jaw broken or anything like that. So that was really difficult to read, but this is such an amazing book, and I'm hoping to read a little bit more of it throughout this month. It's not technically on my TBR, and with how many books I have to read, I'm not sure how often I will be able to get to it, but just know that this may or may not pop up every once in a while throughout the month as I continue to make my way through it. And if you're looking for a nonfiction book, I highly suggest this one, but just know that it's definitely a very upsetting read and that you should be in a relatively good mental space to read it, which I'm not, but I'm still reading it. So don't follow, it's follow my advice, not follow my lead kind of situation. So that being said, the other book that I finished was The Kingdom of Gods, which was the third book and the final book of the Inheritance trilogy. I still have this novella at the end, and I believe there's another novella attached to this. So I read the last, I want to say it was like 30 pages yesterday. And like I said, I am going to count it towards my March stats and everything like that. So you'll see more thoughts on this in my March wrap up. But I ended up giving this 5 stars. So yeah, the ending made me cry. I was wondering if it would make me cry. I was kind of approaching those last few chapters and I was like, I have a feeling this is gonna make me cry. And it did. It made me cry. Like my friend was like, oh, is that a good book because you're crying? And I was like, yep. Gotta give it 5 stars because I'm crying. The fact that I couldn't even hold back the tears even though I had someone in front of me. I don't always like to cry in front of people, but I just couldn't help it. I won't tell you if they were tears of joy or tears of grief or frustration or what, but just know that it is definitely the kind of book that evoked some pretty strong emotions in me, and I really enjoyed the series as a whole, and this last book was very satisfying. I was really happy with the conclusion of it, even though it hurt. So, sometimes those endings, you gotta go through a little bit of pain to get to where things are supposed to be, and they are where they're supposed to be. So I'm very satisfied. I'm excited to see what the novellas are about. I only own one of the novellas. I'll have to see if I can get the other one maybe as a Kindle book or something, or if my library has it. But yeah, I'm super excited. Love N.K. Jemisin once I get done with those novellas, which I'll hopefully be able to squeeze them in the next couple months or so. I'm really looking forward to going into her, what seems to be her most well-known series, but also the series that seems to be proclaimed as the most difficult to read, and that's the Broken Earth trilogy. Like, all I ever hear about it is that it's so confusing, and I have to admit, like, every once in a while I'm in her story and I get a little bit lost, but overall I've always really been able to understand what's happening in her books. So I don't know if me being familiar with her writing will help me in that story, or if that series is just gonna leave me as lost as everyone else. But I'm excited to check it out, and I'm really glad that I was able to finish up this book. This was the last book on my March TBR, so I am free to start on my April TBR. All right, so then as far as the books that I'm currently reading today, I finally started Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Yes, I was like, this is gonna be the first book I'm reading this month, since it is on my TBR game. It's also for Orilium. I can't remember what class it's for, but I remember that the prompt was to have a yellow title. So I will try to remember or double check on my computer, which is back in my bedroom, so I'm too lazy to grab it right now, before I do my next update to let you know specifically what class it is for. But yes, this is also the last book on my 5-star predictions video, which I'm really hoping to do a wrap up of that this month, and maybe even a new 5-star prediction video, since it's taken me so long to get through these 5 books. But I only read the first chapter this morning, which was about 20 pages long. So in this book, we are following a man who, at this point, we don't know his name because he doesn't know his name. And he wakes up on a spaceship, though at this point, by the end of chapter 1, he's just realized, like at the end of chapter 1, like, I don't think I'm on planet Earth. So he wakes up on a spaceship and he's not really sure who he is. He doesn't know why he's there. He doesn't know what the heck is going on. And eventually he finds out that he has to do something to save planet Earth. And yeah, we just kind of follow him as he's all alone on the spaceship, though I believe he has an alien or robot partner that shows up along the way that helps him on this journey. So far in the first chapter, we just followed him as he kind of has come out of his long-term slumber, and he's like, am I being quarantined? Do I have some sort of disease? Like, why am I here? And he's also like, why am I like muscular? If I've been in a coma so long, so shouldn't my muscles have atrophied or something? Like, what the heck is going on here? And he kind of is, like I mentioned at the end of chapter 1, realized due to a difference in gravity that there's no way that he's actually on planet Earth. So I don't think he's fully realized like exactly where he is. I don't think he knows he's on a spaceship. He might be like, am I on a different planet? Who knows? But he's very confused. He doesn't know what his name is or anything. There were 2 other people with him in the medical facility where he woke up, but they are both mummified. So he's like, I've been here for a really long time because there's 2 dead people and they're like mummified. So he's very confused, and so are we, I guess, because we don't know what the heck is going on. I will say Andy Weir's writing goes between being incredibly complex when it comes to the science aspects of things to being incredibly simplistic when it comes to everything else. So it's definitely a bit of a up and down writing style. I haven't decided yet if I like it. It might just take me a little while to get used to it, but I do like his humor. I've already laughed a couple times just in the first chapter, and I'm definitely intrigued to see how this story goes. And I will hopefully do a little bit more reading today, especially since I'm on my own. I'll have plenty of time to do some more reading, and maybe I'll update you later tonight depending on how much reading I get done. All right, guys, so that is the end of this update. I'm looking at the clock and it says 30 freaking minutes. Damn. Okay, so I'm so sorry, guys. That was just a lot of talking, but like I said, this vlog it's just a little bit behind. We're playing a little bit of catch up here. I am gonna go ahead and go for a walk and probably listen to an audiobook. I haven't decided yet which one I want to listen to. I technically have The Deep by River Solomon and it's due tomorrow, and I still have 3 hours of that. So I'm like, should I just listen to that or should I just push it away? I have to admit, like, I'm not super excited to go back to it. The other one that I have is the Invocations. Is that what it's called? I don't remember. The new Crystal Sutherland book. So I may start that one since that one is actually on my TBR. But I will go ahead and check in with you later and we'll let you know for sure what I did work on. But for now, we're gonna cut this because it's long already, and I will go for a walk and enjoy the nice weather, and I'll see you later. So I am here for a quick update. I'm gonna try to make all my updates relatively quick considering how long my first update of this video was, which shouldn't be too hard because I'm trying to stay relatively vague when talking about this book, just because I feel like whenever people talk about it, they don't say too much about it, and I want to keep this relatively spoiler free. So I've reached page 100, chapter 6, so I figured it was a good time to kind of check in. It is Wednesday, a little bit after 5:30. As I mentioned, my parents were coming home early. At least I think I mentioned. I can't remember. I feel like I was saying so much stuff yesterday when I talked about what was going on that I don't even remember exactly what I was saying. But pretty much my parents are coming home today. They've already landed. They're on the way home. So they will probably be here in less than an hour. I'm going to thaw some shrimp. I have a bunch of leftover fried rice, so I'm just going to be making that for dinner. Yeah, they're coming back so that tomorrow my mom can jet off to Germany for 2 weeks. So that will be interesting. I am still gonna plan on vlogging throughout this month, though obviously with my mom being gone, I will be having to take on some additional responsibilities around the house. We'll have one less happy helper around, so that may interfere with my reading a little bit and whatnot, but we will carry on as best as we can. As far as this book goes, I didn't read as much as I wanted to today because I was tired. I did not sleep well last night at all. The good news is I wasn't feeling anxious. Like, my mental health was actually really good. I just couldn't sleep, which actually happened earlier this week as well. And I think I mentioned in a previous vlog that sometimes my medication, one of the side effects is insomnia. So I think that may have been what was happening. I'm not sure, but it was annoying because I do enjoy a good night's sleep. But that being said, I actually didn't go into work until 1. I took a half day because I wanted to sleep in a little bit, and I had a therapy appointment this morning anyway at 10. But despite that, I didn't spend the rest of the time reading like I should have. With all that extra time, I kind of was watching some YouTube and just kind of zoning out because I was feeling very brain dead, but I am feeling much better now. Still relatively tired. I'll probably sleep very well tonight. But like I said, page 100, I am enjoying the story so far. So there are 2 timelines in the story technically, because when we first meet our character, like I said, he didn't even know his name, and gradually throughout the story he is having flashbacks to his life before he woke up on the ship. And so we have spent quite a bit in the past now as he kind of starts the journey that leads to him being on this spaceship. So he was a science teacher, but he specializes in a type of science that was not a specialty of a lot of people, but was really beneficial for this mission. And so that's one of the reasons that he is here. So we've kind of been learning a lot about, it's kind of hard to talk about because I can't even be like, yeah, this is what he's learning about, because it's not listed in the synopsis, so I don't really want to mention it. But yeah, so we've just been going through like a lot of science experiments that he was doing to kind of try and figure out things about a certain unusual anomaly that was occurring out in space that was going to impact Earth negatively. So lots of science jargon, I will say, but the way that Andy Weir writes it, I never feel lost. Like, maybe I don't understand the individual terms, but overall I have an understanding of what he is saying, which is good. I never feel confused despite the amount of scientific jargon in here, and I'm not a science girly whatsoever, to be honest. And once again, there has been quite a bit of humor in here. I've laughed plenty of times. I am enjoying our character. He seems like a pretty laid back guy. He, like I said, is a teacher of 8th graders, I believe, a science teacher for 8th graders. And he's just really passionate about what he does. You can tell that he he's one of those teachers that actually like genuinely cares about the children in his class, and he's very much doing what he's doing because he wants to save those children in his class. So he's very much doing it to save the next generation. So he's definitely someone worth looking up to, and I'm enjoying following him. And I think that's kind of all I have to say about it. It's kind of hard to talk about a book where you can't even like hint at what's happening even in the first quarter of the book, but I will probably check in with you when I reach around the 50% mark, which how many pages are in this book? It's like around the 470 mark. So I would say around page 230, 240 is when I will check in with you. I'm not sure how long that will take. I don't know how much reading I will get done tonight. Like I said, my mom is kind of coming and going, so she's probably going to be packing a lot. So if she needs help unpacking from this trip and packing for the next trip, I will definitely be helping her with that. And if we have any downtime, I'll definitely try to spend some time with her because she'll be gone for the next couple of weeks. And she was gone the last few days, and also I'll want to spend some time with my family before she disappears again and all that jazz. And then unfortunately I do have a full day of work tomorrow and Friday as well. So back to being adults, you know, vacation's over. And I will check in with you when I reach around the 50% mark. It is Thursday night. I am getting ready to go to sleep, but I figured since this is a weekly vlog, I should try to check in at least once a day, even though I don't have a lot to say. I was hoping to get to page 200 of Project Hail Mary today. That did not happen. I'm on page 184, so we are chugging along slowly. My mom left for Germany today, so she's on a flight right now. And I am a little anxious about it. Obviously, I know she's safe and sound and everything, but I also know that she's anxious, you know, about the well-being of her mom and just like having to plan a trip and pack and all that jazz and get everything all set up in a short time. So I of course wish I was with her, but I will be here by my phone if she needs to call or talk or anything along those lines. Just gonna be there for her. And obviously if anything takes a turn for the worse, which hopefully it doesn't, or if she needs help over there, if say we need to move my grandma out of her home into a facility or anything and she needs help packing, then maybe I will be jumping on a plane to Germany, but we will see how that goes. But as far as the book goes, he has met his little friend here in the last chapter, the friend that everybody really enjoys. Now, I'm not sure if it's a spoiler or not to say what they are, because like when I was giving my synopsis, I never knew if it was a little robot or a little alien, but I feel like I might say what it is. So if you really don't want to know, then you may want to skedoodle, but I will say that is the only kind of spoilery thing that I should be talking about. It'll just make it easier for me to talk about this book in general because we're less than 50% through, and I'm assuming that this little guy is going to be a pretty prominent part of the story. So that being said, I will give you a second to leave if you don't want to know if he comes across some sort of robot Wall-E-esque character or if he comes across a little alien. I'll see you later. But for those of you who are staying, he has come across some extraterrestrial life. I don't know if I said that word right, but he has met a little alien friend, and this little alien is kind of like spider-like, which I feel like as soon as I read that, I remember someone talking about space spiders when I came to this book, and I was like, oh, this is the book where people were talking about space spiders. Okay, so it's like refreshing some memories I've heard about other reviews from this book. But so far, he is definitely very adorable. I myself am not a huge fan of spiders. There are certain spiders, like the little jumping spiders, that I think are really cute. You know, we have them around the house or out on the patio, and they kind of move kind of funny and very jerky movements, and obviously they're tiny and harmless, and I think they're cute. So even though I don't think he looks like one of those spiders, I'm just pretending that he is as adorable as one of those spiders and not like some creepy little daddy long legs or something along those lines. But yes, so they have gone ahead and met, and they're just kind of trying to figure out how they're gonna communicate with each other, because obviously they don't know each other's languages or anything along those lines. So that has been really fun to watch as they kind of celebrate every new discovery that they make about each other. And obviously they're trying to get to the point where they can hopefully have more science level conversations so that they can talk about the issue that they're trying to resolve, because he was trying to get to a certain place in space that could possibly have some answers, and he's assuming that this alien being here, that their planet is facing the same issues as planet Earth. So he's kind of like, oh, it'd be really great if we put our minds together to try and figure out how to save both of our civilizations and all that jazz. So still enjoying the book. I will say, with my anxiety being a little higher, and it just makes me a little bit more tired, and sometimes it's harder for me to concentrate in this book being so science heavy. Sometimes it's it's a little bit of a drag, but I'm hoping now that, I don't know if you can hear my dad calling our cat, it's bedtime and Loki should be inside, but I don't know if now that the alien is in the picture, if things will get a little bit more interesting moving forward. I will say I'm still really enjoying the humor in this book. It has made me laugh quite a few times. I'm still really enjoying our character. He's a fun guy to be following and whatnot. I will say, as someone who has recently been very anxious about being home alone, the thought of this guy being in space all alone was like stressing me out a little bit. But I was like, this is hitting a little too close to home right now, you know? But still having a great time with the story, and will keep chugging along. Maybe this will be the only book that I read in this vlog, or physical book. So I actually started an audiobook today, the Invocations, I want to say, is it called? Actually, I should have it. Invocations, yes, by Crystal Sutherland. And this is for the inscription class for the Orilium readathon, where I was to write down 3 titles and randomly select one, and this just happened to be the title I selected. By the way, Animal Studies is the class that I'm reading for Project Hail Mary. So I forgot to mention that earlier. But yes, so the Invocations is also for my TBR game, in which I was to read a horror thriller mystery with 3 or more colors on the cover. And I don't know if I mentioned that this one is for the prompt of a sci-fi that takes place outside of the United States. Takes place outside of Earth. So that is what I'm reading these things for. I think I only got about 7% into the audiobook today. I just listened to it a little bit while eating lunch, and then I listened to it while I was doing some grocery shopping. Pretty much we are following 3 different girls, and I can already tell you right now that I am not going to remember any of their names. I think one of them might have been named Evie. And one of them is possessed by a demon. It seems she made a deal with a demon and it did not quite go the way that she was hoping it would go. It turned out a little bit more intense, as in it's like consuming her soul fully. And she's like, whoa, let's slow down here a little bit. And she's looking for a witch who can break the curse and free her from this demon. And I'm assuming that one of the other characters that we're following is going to be one of those witches. And I'm in the middle of the chapter of one of the girls, so I'm not really sure like yet what's going on with her. She seems to be studying kind of the idea of curses. She seems to have been kind of trying to teach herself about curses, so I'm assuming she might be the witch that our other character is looking for. And then we also were following a third character who seems to be on the run from someone, and she is currently at a university. Is it Oxford? Probably. She's currently kind of hiding out at Oxford and pretending to be a student there, and it seems she often goes to the library and the library presents her with books like magically, because in this world women can use magic and only women, and she's just like studying all of this magic. So maybe she's a witch as well. I'm not sure. We're not sure what she is on the run from, but so far things are definitely intense. We started off the book by following a girl who I don't think is one of our characters, but she seemed to have been taken or hurt or maybe even killed by a man who seemed to be able to use magic. And she was kind of like, men are not able to do this. Like, men aren't even supposed to be able to make deals with demons to use magic. So there's some sort of magical man who shouldn't exist that is probably going to be causing some drama for our girls. But that is where I'm at with that right now, and so far I'm enjoying it. You know, it's definitely a lot of intriguing stuff going on, but like I said, I'm only like 7% into it, so haven't been able to form any solid thoughts on that quite yet. But I think that I am gonna go ahead and listen to, I want to say the app is called, is it Insight Timer? It's like a timer that my therapist recommended to me. It's like a app where you can listen to meditation or like calming noises, or some of them will even read you like storybooks like Alice in Wonderland, things like that. So I'm gonna try that out to see if that helps me relax, because my problem is I never practice these techniques when I'm relaxed, because I'm like, I'm relaxed. And then when I get anxious, then all of a sudden I start trying to do all these things to relax me, but my body and my mind have no connection to these techniques and they don't associate it with any sort of relaxation, so it doesn't really work. So I am working on practicing my ability to relax by practicing it when I'm not super anxious. I am a little anxious right now, but not as anxious as I can get, which is very anxious apparently, because I take this one type of medication, and I was telling my therapist about it, that I took it during the day, and she's like, doesn't that make you go to sleep? And I was like, sometimes it makes me like a little drowsy, but like not really. And she's like, everyone I know that takes that, it like knocks them out. Like, how anxious are you? And I was like, very. That's why I'm seeing you. But anyway, yeah, so we're gonna do a little bit of relaxation before we go to sleep. Tomorrow's Friday, last day of work, and I will probably check in with you then as well. Bye and good night. All right, guys, it is Friday. Work is coming to an end, and I just wanted to check in real quick and let you know what I'm doing for dinner, because I have been thinking about this since yesterday. I'm going to be making something from my new cookbook. So I'm going to be making, can you see this? I'm like, peekaboo, this potato soup with, it's supposed to be crunchy kale. I'm going to make some changes to this, because one of the reasons I wanted to make this is because I have a bunch of arugula sitting in my fridge right now, and I'm gonna make arugula chips and replace that or the kale with that, so that should be good. I'm also gonna add pepitas, and I'm going to cook up some bacon, some crispy bacon as well, because potato soup plus bacon is meant to be. Now this is supposed to have some sort of Taleggio cheese, which I have no idea what that is, but it's probably some sort of cow milk based cheese, which I can't have. And I do have like half of a small block of goat cheddar left, so I think I'm going to try putting that in the soup. Fingers crossed it works, because I kind of read that goat cheese doesn't melt like as well. Like it'll get gooey, but it doesn't like melt as good. So we'll see what happens. I don't want it to be like gloopy or anything like that, but we are gonna go ahead and have that with a rustic multi-grain baguette, and it's gonna be yummy because it's spring, but the weather is not giving spring. It's been kind of drizzly and windy and dreary the past few days, and boy do I feel it. I need the sun to come back. I was like, please. When the weather was nicer, my mood was just better and I need that again. So that is what I'm gonna do right after work. I'm actually going to shower, so that's why I wanted to check in with you now before I come in with my little hair turban thing going on. As far as my reading goes, I'm almost 50% through. I think I'm about like 10-20 pages away from the 50% mark. I'm still really enjoying this book. I don't know how much more reading I will be doing tonight, since I'll be doing one of those full body showers, like hair, shaving, exfoliating, all that jazz, and then I'll be cooking dinner, and it's Friday night, so we might try and watch a movie or so, but maybe I'll try and, you know, get to the actual 50% mark, read another 10 or 20 pages of that if I have time. Otherwise, this weekend I have some things that I need to do. I definitely would like to go to the gym tomorrow. I'm not going today because I don't want to but I haven't gone to the gym all week, so I really should go at least once. I have been like going around and walking, especially earlier in the week when the weather was nicer, but now that the weather is more dreary, we're gonna go back to the gym, and we're actually gonna do, I haven't decided if I want to do legs or arms. I figure I should do arms since I've been doing so much walking, so I've been kind of, does walking count as a leg exercise? I don't even know. It's not like I've been walking up like steep hills or anything, but still. We'll figure it out tomorrow. I only have one video to film, which is going to be my March wrap up, which is going to be very, very short because I only have 4 books to talk about. So it's going to be another short wrap up. That's totally fine. And then there is some gardening that my mom needs me to do to prepare the raspberry bushes, or whatever raspberry. Are they called bushes? They don't really look like bushes. They're just like little sticks with, but they're not trees either. Raspberry plants, let's call them that. That those need to go ahead and be prepared for the season. So that's what I'll be doing over the weekend. None of that stuff should take like a crazy amount of time. So hopefully I can work on this book. I would love to finish it this weekend because I would love to finish it in this vlog. It would be great if I finished at least one book in this vlog. I mean, we will see. I think that this week's vlog is going to be a little bit wonky, just because there's been a lot of stuff going on in the background and a lot of changes to plans and all that jazz, and I'm just kind of trying to find my footing, and my brain is trying to find its footing, and it's definitely impacted my ability to like sit down and concentrate because I feel like I'm constantly thinking of other things. So I apologize. Hopefully next week's vlog will be a little less messy and I'll be more put together as well, since I'll be kind of settled into what will be the rhythm for the next couple of weeks until my mom returns, which by the way, she made it safely to Germany and everything, so she's there now. Trying to get in contact with some of the doctors. I guess she's having some trouble with that, but hopefully they talk to her soon and, you know, give her some updates about how her mom's doing. So that is that on that, and I will go ahead and check in with you sometime tomorrow. As soon as I got up from this chair, he jumped because he was sitting here on the bed, and then clearly he was waiting for me to just get out of his spot, because this is your chair, right? This is the Lope chair. Yep. I'm gonna go clean the bathroom and you just relax here in your throne. Hello, it is time for an update. It is Saturday evening. It was almost 8 o'clock at night, and I'm about to get into bed and settle down for the night. We had pizza tonight, so I didn't have to cook or anything, which is nice. And I am watching Anne with an E. I started watching it earlier this week, and I've been kind of, or not earlier, earlier this week on like Monday. Or did I start it on Saturday? Either way, I recently started it, and I've kind of been binge watching it. It's not like the kind of show that I really thought I would like, but I've really been enjoying it. So I've been watching that every once in a while instead of reading. But despite that, I still want to go ahead and give you an update of Project Hail Mary. I am on page 330. I will do a little bit more reading tonight. I would really like to get to page at least 350, which should definitely be doable. And that way I only have 100 pages to read tomorrow. Fingers crossed, because I really would love to finish this book tomorrow, but I do have some things that I need to do, especially if the weather cooperates. It's not supposed to rain the way that it did today, so I have some stuff that I need to do outside, and then I have some editing I need to do, and I kind of want to FaceTime my mom, so I'll message her in the morning to see if she has time to do that. But otherwise, I don't think I have too much going on, so hopefully I will find time for this. But things are pretty intense right now. There is a pretty life-threatening situation that has just occurred. Our characters here, our friend and his little alien, are working real hard to find a way to save their planet. I don't know if I told you guys that their planets are dying from the same cause, but that is the case, and they are just doing lots of science and working together and learning each other's languages and about their cultures and all that jazz throughout this story, and it is a lot of fun to watch the two of them interact. I really enjoy that. We are still occasionally getting flashbacks to his time before he got on the spaceship, but that is occurring a little bit less now that a lot of exciting things are happening out in space, and our character's life is being threatened in a way every once in a while. And they've recently made a pretty exciting discovery. I'm interested to see what they do with this discovery, because I'm not a science girly, so I'm honestly like, that's great, but like, what are you gonna do with that? Because honestly, I wouldn't know what to do with that. So I'm interested to see what the author decides to do. I'm sure that he'll make it all work out. Oh, it's just the wind. I was making sure my cat wasn't trying to come into the room. But yes, exciting things happening. I really can't say much more. Lots of science, lots of humor, having a good time. They're not having a good time right now, but that's just the way that it is sometimes when you're on a life or death mission. So yes, that is my update for now. A very short update. I probably won't update you again until I finish this book. I did make some progress on the invocations while I was at the gym. Did I check what percentage I was on before I started this video? No. So I have literally no idea, but I think it's still under the 25% mark. I'm hoping that tomorrow, while I do some chores outside with the raspberries, that I can listen to it a bit more. I'm definitely not going to finish that. It's just not going to happen. But I am enjoying it. As I mentioned, there are 3 different characters in this book, and here in the last chapter, they have finally all kind of converged in one place. So in the beginning, I was kind of confused about who was who. I still don't know everyone's name. I think there's one called Evie. Is there an Evie? There might be an Evie. Evie sounds like a witchy girl name, so maybe I'm just making things up. So there's a, okay, so I think there's someone whose name starts with an E, and that might be Evie. Then there's someone I think whose name starts with a Z, and then there's a J name, and I think it might be Jane. But for some reason, when it comes to names, I'm really good at like remembering the first letter of their name, but not the rest of their name, which is why I always get frustrated when authors use like a bunch of names that start with the same letter, because I'm like, I can only remember the first letter of a lot of these names, which is probably not reflecting very well on my intellect, but it's just the way that it is. Anyway, so we have 3 girls. We're just gonna say we have Z, we have J, and we have E. That's their names right now. And I believe J is the one who is currently possessed by a demon. Essentially, she tried to make a deal with a demon herself, despite not being a curse breaker, I think they're called, or curse makers. And because she's not an experienced curse maker or witch even, she messed up royally, and she tethered a demon that didn't actually want to be tethered to her, to herself. And this demon is now more of a wraith, and it's very angry and it's very hungry, because I don't think it can properly feed off of her, because they don't really have a proper deal. And then she went to curse makers and had them add 2 more curses to her in hopes of dampening the excruciating pain that she feels from this wraith that is essentially like rotting her body. Her body is not doing well whatsoever. She often has like a lot of open festering wounds. She smells practically like a rotting corpse. So girlie's not doing well on the health side of things. And she has these 2 other demons attached to her who are happily munching on her soul, but they're also not super happy because they have this angry wraith neighbor that is also there and disturbing their peace. And she would like to find a curse breaker who can just make all of them go away. And that is where E shows up, because she is the daughter of a witch. And while she has not done a lot with her witch abilities, because her coven was slaughtered when she was young, and so she doesn't want to do too much of it, she does every once in a while provide curses for women who show up to her, show up on her front door essentially. And they're usually kind of scared and battered, and these are women who have obviously been harmed, usually by men, and so she provides them with protection curses. And it turns out that a lot of the people that she has been trying to protect are the ones that are being killed by this serial killer. And the first one who was killed was actually the older sister of our 3rd character, who ever since the death of her sister has been looking into necromancy so that she can bring her sister back from the dead. And so all of them have kind of come to E. So J and Z have come to E in hopes that she can solve all their problems. And she's like, not really, okay? Necromancy, bringing people back from the dead, cutting ties with demons, which are supposed to be lifelong deals, is not my specialty. It's probably not anyone's specialty, because you can't really do it. So she's definitely in a bit of an awkward position of having these 2 girls show up and asking her to essentially do the impossible. But we will see where it goes from here. I'm assuming that they are going to work together. I'm hoping that there's going to be some friendship and whatnot going on here. I do believe this is a sapphic story. Do I know who the relationships are going to be in between? No, but I am excited all the same to see where it goes. I know Jay is probably going to be one of the girls that's in a relationship with someone, because she's the most forward with her lesbianism. And Z so far has told her that she's like not attracted to her or anything, but she has also blushed a few times when Jay has been flirtatious with her. So we will see what happens, but I am enjoying the story. It's definitely rather dark. All of our girls definitely have lots of family drama, lots of trauma in their past, lots of dead people in their past. These girls are essentially kind of like on their own. They don't really have a support system, so they'll probably become that support system for each other, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, that is my reading update. I'm gonna work a little bit on Project Hail Mary and watch some booktube, and I will check in with you tomorrow. So I am here to wrap up this vlog. Did this vlog go as planned? No, I mean, I didn't really have any specific plans for this vlog. It's just a weekly vlog. I'm just vlogging for the entirety of April as I slowly but steadily make my way through my Orilium TBR and my regular TBR. But I didn't finish any books in this vlog. I was kind of hoping to finish at least one, and I really did think I would finish Project Hail Mary, but for some reason that was because I thought there was 416 pages of this book. Where did I get that number? I have literally no idea, because there's like 470 something pages, so I was off by like 60 pages. That being said, I am on page 227, so I should definitely be finishing this book up tomorrow. So I don't really want to say too much about it, just because I don't have too many thoughts on it, especially since we're approaching the end and I can't give you my final thoughts yet because I don't have them yet. But that being said, I have been enjoying this read. I have been enjoying the humor. I will say that I've just been kind of tired lately. I think I'm just a little bit emotionally drained with everything that's going on with my family member over in Germany, and just reading like a really complex sci-fi stuff right now is a bit of a slog. And so while I'm enjoying it, it is definitely a slower read than it would be if my brain was at 100%, because it's definitely not at 100% right now. But that being said, I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow, so it should be the first book I finish up here in the next vlog, and hopefully I make my way through, you know, at least a couple books in that next vlog. Today is already what, the 7th of the month, so I have finished one measly book so far this month. But I know that lately my reading hasn't been as fast, just because my mental health hasn't been as good, and things at home have just been a little bit unusual, I should say. You know, my life is just not its usual day-to-day structure, and especially with my parents having traveled and then having some guests over, and then my mom traveling to Germany and having to keep up to date with her mother's well-being, and honestly stressing about that has been really difficult, because not only am I stressing about my family members' health, but I'm stressing about my mother being over there alone and dealing with this. I really do wish that I was there with her, but luckily her stepmother is over there and is going to be with her throughout this process. And of course, we've been FaceTiming and texting pretty consistently and all that jazz. So I will probably kind of keep you up to date on that. I mean, it's just, for me, to have a record of it and just to kind of talk about it. I probably won't go too in depth about like what happened or what's going on, but just to get it off my chest a little bit. Sometimes I treat these weekly vlogs a little bit like a diary. So sorry if that doesn't interest you, or if it's a little triggering for you to hear about a family member being sick, but I'm just doing it mostly for myself. So thank you for putting up with it. But yeah, that is my update on this reading. As far as the invocations go, I'm at 43%, I think it was. I lied the last time because I said I didn't know what percentage I was on, but I was pretty sure it was less than 25%. I'd actually been at 30%, so I had been over 25% at that point, but now I'm at 30%, and they are all kind of working together to go ahead and solve this murder. I have a feeling I know who the relationship is going to be between now, but I'm not going to say who it is because we're almost at the 50% mark, so things are considered slightly spoilery at this time. But honestly, I don't have too much to say on the story. I am, to a degree, enjoying it. I would say the character I'm most attached to right now is, I want to say her name is Jude, and she's the one who is possessed by, well, she's not really possessed by demons, but she is the one that has the wraith attached to her. But she is also the one with the biggest personality, so she just kind of stands out a bit more than the other two girls. So that might be why I'm drawn to her, because I can differentiate her a lot more easily than the other two girls. But I'm also interested in her relationship with her family, because she comes from a very wealthy family, and her father is one of those guys who kind of like has a lot of kids. Like he keeps getting remarried and having more kids, and his kids are constantly like fighting for his attention, and he constantly like gives it out like little morsels, and they're just like begging for it. And he told everyone that his daughter was suffering from a heroin addiction or some sort of drug addiction, because I don't know if he doesn't want people to know, or if he doesn't know that his daughter is struggling with demonic issues. But either way, she has been a bit ostracized by her peers and her family because of that rumor that he spread. So he's not like a great guy, and she's still kind of seeking his approval. One of the reasons she wants to be cured is so that she can go back to her old life, even though it wasn't perfect. So I'm really interested to see how that goes, especially since it seems like she's been presented with an opportunity where she can return into the fold, at least temporarily. And I'm interested to see what becomes of that, because at this point she only seems to be interacting with one of her brothers, one of the other brothers that seems to be a bit more of an outsider, and even he doesn't seem to know like what's actually going on with her. He also believes that she's suffering from a drug addiction, but he's still trying to be a part of her life. So I'm interested to see how she interacts with her father and all her other snobby siblings that have turned their back on her. But other than that, yeah, that is my update on my books, on my life. Back to work tomorrow, and I should be starting this vlog tomorrow as well. We will see with, you know, the unpredictability of my family members' health. I may kind of pop in and pop out a little bit depending on where I am mentally, but I really do kind of enjoy the distraction of a vlog. So that's why I'm just gonna keep going with it, because sometimes when you're dealing with stress or dealing with grief, then just kind of trying to keep a routine going. And right now this vlogging, weekly vlogging, is part of the routine, so I'm gonna just keep chugging along with that. And I appreciate you guys coming along this journey with me, and hopefully I can provide you with some more book reviews, because I will be reading more books. But yeah, no, that is all for now. Thank you so much for sticking around for this vlog. I haven't started editing it at all, so I have no idea how messy or put together it is, but I have enjoyed talking to you guys and always enjoy talking with you guys in the comments down below. Would love to know your thoughts on either of the books that I have read in this vlog. Even though I didn't finish them, I'm sure by the time this video goes up, which will be on Friday, I should definitely have them both finished by then. But as always, thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!